Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley for our Wednesday update. Quite a bit to talk about here today. And today I've been going and when I put these together, I try to have some kind of semblance to them. Today might not have that. So bear with me here. I'm just making sure there's lots of things we can talk about, but I want to focus on a couple things. First, Lansing oriented. The budget. Today, I'm just coming from over. We've still got a lot of things to vote on, but we voted on a budget, the school budget, and the overall budget for the state. And, all things considered, I've said it's a no-frills budget, but thankfully, because of some federal money that was there and all the CARES Act money that we got to and people were able to use and spend, our tax situation is better than we expected. So basically what we've got is a budget that looks just like last year's with a little bit of exception. Road funding is there. Our school funding is there. Pure Michigan is back, not to the levels I'd like, but it was put in there. Our job training and workforce type stuff is there. Our trades. So it really is, all things considered, a very good budget. If we were to compare it to others, we might say not so much. But considering where we're at today and where we've been in the last 6 months, an excellent budget. So good news there for you and all. So there. I also today testified before the Natural Resources Commission on my high water task force. And I'm going to tell you a real quick story. I introduced that legislation back in February, finally got Eagle, Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy to talk to me on May 15th. And they said, well, we don't need this. We have a task force. And I said, no, stop thinking like in the current. This is not new to Michigan. We have flooding all the time, and we need to think of it like a leaky roof. When it's raining, the water's coming down, but the problem is when it stops raining, we forget about it, we don't fix the roof, then it's leaking again. So, where is it? Can I have it here? Yeah, pardon me here. So, today in the testimony, we had a chart from the Army Corps of Engineers. Basically, the water levels on Lake Michigan and Huron, because they consider it one lake. We had high water in 1930, 1952, 73, 86, and now in 2020, 2019, whatever you want to call it. Governors Green, Williams, Milliken, and Blanchard didn't do anything about it. We need a task force to say, what do we need looking forward? Well, Eagle is opposed to this legislation. They said, because we don't want to have a legislative task force created when the executive branch can do it themselves. Well, I wouldn't be here doing it if the executive branch had done it themselves. Green, Williams, Blanchard, Milliken. Let's get it done. So I'm going to continue to fight for that because all citizens of Michigan, we need to plan ahead for the next time because these waters are going to subside. Then the question is it 2030? Is it 2035, 2040 that the waters rise again? I just gave you the years that we've had it. It goes up, it goes down. So we need to be prepared. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's talk about this. No, I'll save that for last. I'll save today's COVID Oversight Committee for last. Let's talk elections. The legislature is asking the Court of Claims for the second time to reconsider allowing us to intervene in the lawsuit that successfully challenged whether ballots received election day can count. Remember, the judge at Court of Claims said 14 days prior or after in the election, they can still count ballots. And I spoke of personal responsibility, and we need a deadline. We're trying to get the judge said that we, the legislature, couldn't intervene in that case. We're trying to fight that, and hopefully we'll be able to. Republican Rep. Ann Boleyn, great lady, former township clerk in Brighton, said the injunction directly contradict many of the protections the legislature has put in place to protect the integrity of our elections. She said the change to transportation requirements opened the door for a controversial practice known as ballot harvesting that has been illegal in Michigan and other states. And just interesting as we go through this, one of the things that's problem is mail-in balloting is now legal. Early balloting is now legal in Michigan. We voted it in 2 years ago. Problem is, as I see it, our Secretary of State is really pushing this through for whatever reason. I can go on and on about it, but I give you my opinion. She is trying to push this through, and she would say, well, I want everybody to vote by mail because it's easier. Well, maybe it is, but are we truly prepared? And what has our Secretary of State done to prepare us for this election? I would argue not much. And here's why I say that. We actually, in a way, got a gift when the federal government gave us CARES money to help could be used by the Secretary of State for various purposes, including the election. So what did our Secretary of State choose to do? She spent this, the number I remember is, she used about $7 million to print up and mail out a couple of different postcards telling people that they should apply and ask for their mail-in ballot. Now, I'm not opposed to necessarily the email, but follow me here. The number I remember in my head was 7 million. Let's say it was even 5. Say I'm off a little bit. She used $5 million in federal money, but I think it was 7, to mail out all these cards to people, print mail. So I'm reading another story that says that the average clerk, precinct, whatever, they have a standard tabulator, which costs about $5,000, can process these mail-in ballots, right? At a rate of about 4 per minute. And many have added a machine or two, right? So you can use it, you get them in, and it's a counter that they can use. 4 per minute is how many they can average get through. Or you can get a high-speed tabulator, which does that 10 times faster. So 40 a minute, right? And we're worried about how many are coming in. Our Secretary of State says we need 14 more days. We need more time. We won't be able to count all these ballots, right? Follow me here. So a high-speed tabulator, which can do it 10 times faster than the average tabulator, costs about $35,000. That's a lot of money. Are you following me here? Why didn't our Secretary of State use some of that federal CARE money to buy high-speed tabulators? Think about it. $1 million. I'm no mathlete here, but I did a little simple division. $1 million would buy 28 high-speed counters. That would make a difference in a lot of the busy jurisdictions, right? She spent upwards to $7 million on these postcards. Why didn't some of that money get used to purchase high-speed counters? That's my question. I don't know the answer. We'll see if we can get an answer. Let's see here. I'm going to keep rolling here because I don't want to take forever, and I want to get to today's meeting in our COVID committee, and I'm already at 8 minutes. Do I even want to talk about that? No, there's lots of things out there. I need to talk to you about today because I think in a crazy sort of way, we had a major breakthrough in our COVID Oversight Committee today. So historically here, when we started this, I remember sitting through meeting at committee after committee after committee, and we asked the head of the UIA, Unemployment Insurance Agency. We asked the head of LEO, Economic Opportunity. And then we asked Lara. And we even asked the director of MSP a lot of questions. And DMB, the Department of Management and Budget, Technology Management and Budget. And we basically got the same answers. Well, that's a public health issue, and you really need to talk to DHHS, Department of Health and Human Services. That's what we heard. Everybody passed the buck. Nobody could really answer the question because it's a health issue. So we finally get the head of DHHS in last week, and I asked him a question. I said, a lot of people are asking questions. I got to ask you one. The COVID death certificate, is it just COVID, or do you put the comorbidity things on? How's that work? Well, you're going to have to ask the state epidemiologist. She's in next week. Buck gets passed. So this week, we've got the state epidemiologist and the director of director of DHHS. So my time comes, and I said, I got to ask a question. the buck's getting passed all the way to your department. And then last week I asked a question and it gets passed again. So here we are. Where are we at with such things as the death certificates? I get kind of a runaround answer. Then I said, there's the thing I talk about all the time is our balanced approach. We don't have one. And yes, we have a COVID patient, but we also have and they're talking about public health. We did this to save lives. Okay, I get that. But this committee is asking the questions the people have, right? So, okay, your COVID health, got it. But what about the business patient and the mental health that comes out of that and the anguish? And I said, do you guys track suicides? Do you track attempted suicides? Well, it's in the death numbers. The answer is no. She couldn't give me an answer. My point is, how many people died COVID related because their businesses were shut down or they lost their job and then UIA didn't give them money for 3 months, right? So those are the questions that need to be asked. But we finally, one of the fine members of our committee asked a question, and Director Gordon gave an answer that when he gave that answer, I went, finally. Somebody asked him, well, when you're in this process and you're talking, who makes the decision on this stuff? You've got all this panel of experts. Who makes the decision? And the answer came, the governor. So, I am going to publicly ask our governor to answer the people's questions. We have now talked to all these people and all these departments, and finally we got the call from the director of the Department of Health and Human Services. Who makes the final call? And he said, the governor. So, Governor Whitmer, and I got to figure out how to do this formally, but I am asking you to answer the questions in simple terms that Joe and Jane Sixpack, Joe and Jane Michigander have. Don't give me mumbo jumbo and all sorts of charts and all of that. You can boil the answers down because the questions are simple. And realistically, so are the answers. But we haven't gotten any until today when we finally found out who makes the decisions. So that really is huge to me. So Governor Whitmer, please, the people that you were elected to lead have questions. And from all the people I've asked and we've asked, the only person who can really answer the questions is you. So Governor Whitmer, I ask you, step out from your comfort zone. Let me ask the questions. Let a reporter ask you the questions. We can figure out who asks you the questions. But answer honest questions that the people of Michigan have. Your experts that we've talked to, we found out that you're the one who can answer the questions. So, Madam Governor, please step out and answer the questions. That's my update for tonight, and I will keep asking her, Madam Governor, please answer the questions. You, not some second, you, because you're the one who's making the decisions. All right? We'll see what happens. I'm not holding my breath. Have a good evening.